Okay, welcome everyone to Module 2, Introduction to Physics. So, in this module, we will be exploring how physics helps us understand the world around us, how objects move, to how we measure and describe things accurately. So, do not worry, we will take this step by step and connect everything to real life situations. So, things that you already experience every day. So these are the learning outcomes. So you should be able to do after finishing this module. So that is to understand why physics is important, how motion happens, how to tell scalars from vectors, and how to convert units, and how to properly measure different quantities. So these skills are not just for exams, they are very useful in daily life and in many professions. So, how can you describe physics as a discipline? Physics is a branch of science that studies matter, energy, motion, and forces. So, it helps explain why and how things happen in nature. So, when an object falls, a car speeds up, or electricity powers your phone, physics is behind all of that. Okay, so physics is everywhere. I think you are aware of that, and it is used in engineering, medicine, sport, transportation, communication, and even entertainment. So, for example, doctors use physics in x-rays, engineers use it to build bridges, and athletes use it to improve performance. So, in physics, a law, a law is describes what happened in nature, and a theory explains why it happens, and a model helps us visualize or represent complex ideas. So they work together to help scientists understand and predict natural events. Let's go now to motion. So motion refers to the change in position of an object over time. So if something moves from one place to another, we say it is in motion. Understanding motion is one of the foundations of physics. So, like this roller coaster and the science behind it. So, think about riding here. You go up, down, fast, and slow. So, all these movements involve motion, speed, and forces. So, even though it is fun, physics is working the whole time to keep you safe and, of course, moving at the same time. So for the recognizing motion, to do this or to recognize motion, we compare the position of an object at different times. So it is position changes relative to something else. So then motion has occurred. So the athlete in motion. Um, So athletes are great examples of motions. When Elma Moros Posados runs, jumps, or sprints, her position changes with time. So physics helps understand how speed, direction, and force affect athletic performance. So an athlete, I think that's it. So an athlete running, people are moving throughout the day and the Earth revolving around the sun are all examples of motion. So motion always depends on what you are comparing the object to. So for the reference points, a reference point is an object or place used to determine whether something is moving. For example, if you walk past the library door can serve as your reference point. So we also have the distance. Distance is very important as well in understanding physics. So it tells us how far an object has traveled regardless of direction. So it is a scalar quantity and it is measured in meters. And other common units, including millimeter and, of course, centimeter and kilometer. For the distance and displacement example, in this cyclist example, do I have that? I don't have it. So in this cyclist example, we see difference between distance and displacement. So distance is the total path traveled, while displacement only consider the starting point and then the ending point, and of course, even the direction. Okay, for scalars and vectors, quantities in physics can be classified as scalars or vectors. So when we say scalars, it's only have magnitude, while vectors have both magnitude and direction. So this distinction is very important when describing um, motion. So as you can see in here, for scalars, that the displacement, velocity, force, and acceleration. For vectors, includes a distance, mass, time, volume. Okay, so scalar quantities include distance, as I mentioned, um, time, mass, volume, and these quantities tells us how much, but not which direction. On the other hand, when we say vectors, it actually includes displacement, velocity, force, and acceleration. So these quantities tells us both how much and which direction. Let's go now to the physical quantities. Um, these are things we can measure, like length and then time. So we express them using standard units. So measurements can be understood and compared anywhere in the world. For the system units, so these are two major systems of units. We have the SI system and then the English system. So scientists around the world use the SI system because it is universal and standardized. For fundamental units are basic measurements like length, mass, time, and electric current. All other measurements are derived from these basic units. The derived units are formed by combining fundamentals unit. For example, speed is measured in meters per second, which comes from the length divided by time. So there are tools to measure length, of course. We have ruler, we have the meter stick, tape measure, caliper. Caliper, they are used for precise measurements such as the diameter of a tube or thickness of an object. We also have micrometer and there and other tools. So of course, aside from length, other quantities like time, mass, and distance require different tools such as the clock, balances, and odometers. So let's go now to the conversion of units. So this allows us to change measurements from one unit to another without changing the actual quantity. So this skill is essential in science and everyday problem solving. Okay, so I would like you to take a look this converting units, and the goal is to cancel out the old unit and replace it with the desired unit. Let's have a trial of that. So you can see in here. Oops. And then let's have this word problem. Okay, so in conclusion, or to summarize, physics helps us understand motion, measurement, and the laws of nature. So mastering these basics will prepare you for more advanced topics in science. Keep practicing, stay focused, stay curious, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay, thank you very much and see you.